All right, welcome back to Wake Up America Early. So we are going to continue our coverage of the deadly incident between an agitator and ICE officers that left a 37-year-old woman dead yesterday. The incident leading to violent demonstrations across Minneapolis and around the country. This as law enforcement just continues to be demonized by the left. So joining us right now to discuss is Minnesota State Representative candidate for governor of that state, Peggy Bennett. Ma'am, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to get your reaction to what happened in your home state yesterday. I guess the events leading up to it, the agitators, and then, of course, the deadly ending to it.
Yeah, this is all incredibly sad, and we don't want anyone killed. And this should never have happened. I believe it's entirely preventable, and I can explain to you why. But it's something, as we heard Ted Cruz say just a few minutes ago, the rhetoric and the political violence that's happening right now in our state and in our country is just huge, and it should not be. We can't be calling names like ICE's Gestapo and this is a war, because these are the kinds of things that happen. And even more, I believe sanctuary cities like Minneapolis have actually created this powder keg type of situation.
Yeah, when you were calling these ICE agents, like you said, the Gestapo, when you call them Nazis, people feel justified in assaulting them. And I think right now state and local leaders there should be calling for level heads, calmness, trust the ICE officers, listen to what they're saying. However, Mayor Jacob Frey didn't exactly have that message. Let's take a listen.
To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. And now somebody is dead. That's on you.
Is this really the message that he should be spreading right now? The temperature is already so high. What did you make of his remarks yesterday?
Absolutely unacceptable. Like you say, the temperature is so high already. You can't fan the flames like that and then expect nothing to happen. It will. And here's the deal. I don't think Democrats understand that it's their policies that have created this powder keg here. Instead of working with ICE and allowing law enforcement to take in these criminal aliens who are here illegally, and they're criminals, there are murderers, there are rapists, and more. They should be holding them for ICE to come through the jails and pick up. Then ICE wouldn't have to go out into the neighborhoods, and all these tensions and unrest would just get exacerbated. So they've caused this issue to happen in the policies that they have of not actually going along with federal law on allowing ICE to come in and pick up these criminals who people do not want in the streets. It's unsafe, and now the tensions are even worse.
Yeah, you make the most important point there. ICE is literally there to remove criminals, offenders, rapists, whatever it may be, off the streets to make you and me safer. I will never understand opposing them. But ma'am, I do want to switch gears a little bit. Let's get to that fraud that's been recently uncovered in your state. So the House Oversight Committee hearing testimony on fraud in the state yesterday. So let's take a listen to Congresswoman Nancy Mace. She actually questioned a former Biden federal prosecutor on the extent of this fraud in the state. Let's take a listen.
Should Somalians who committed fraud be denaturalized and deported, Mr. Bayou?
Again,
Yes
I'm not sure
no?
that's an appropriate question, because the majority of Somali
So if you
Minnesotans
commit
are
fraud in
citizens.
this country and you are here from Somalia, you don't believe they should be denaturalized and deported? How
Again,
much
most-
fraud would it take for you to want to denaturalize and deport someone who committed fraud in this country? How much?
Again,
A
Ms.
billion?
Mace,
9 billion? 19 billion? What would it take for you?
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on apparently for years. We saw a whistleblower come out. I think it was back in 2018. But why is this really only coming to light right now, really spreading like wildfire the way it is right now?
Yeah, and first of all, I want to say I'm very proud of my colleagues and friends from the Minnesota House who are out there telling the truth and what's happening in Minnesota, and appreciate that opportunity for them. This is a huge issue. I remember in 2019, I was in the legislature at that time, and already the legislative auditor was had reports showing that fraud was taking place, not anywhere near to what we see now, but it was taking place. And as Republicans, we had like a 50 compilation of 50 bills that were all fraud prevention types of bills from both sides of the aisle, created a package, and we were thwarted and blocked, and it was not allowed to go through. So it's an issue that has been going on. One of the problems is there's not a lot of evidence, like solid evidence, that we can go on in the past here that we need to be able to really call this out. And now that solid evidence is coming out. And thank goodness we've got, the FBI and others working on this and helping, because it certainly isn't happening here with our own attorney general in Minnesota and with our governor, who are basically ignoring this. And I don't know if they're trying to sweep it under the rug or what, but it's not a good situation.
Yeah, well, speaking of that governor, Tim Walz is not seeking a third term. However, you are running for governor of the state of Minnesota come November. It's become clear that, obviously Walz, like you just mentioned, did basically nothing to stop the fraud in that state. But how would you get the state in line if you were to be elected?
We need leadership. We need leadership that will model integrity and respect and those kinds of things, so we can actually open up talking together. But what solutions would I put in place? That's what I'm running on, is solutions. I have a webpage full of solutions. For this area of fraud, we have to look at oversight, obviously, with the agencies, what the governor does, but even more, the core problem is these programs that we have in Minnesota are actually designed to allow fraud. They're designed to leave the bank vault wide open for criminals to come in and take our money. I'll give you an example. Medicaid, the requirements to apply for Medicaid, you don't have to give an address. You don't have to give a social security number.
Wow.
Why? That's ridiculous. So as governor, those are things that I would put in place. Make sure these programs are fraud proof, and then make sure my agencies are operating correctly, not fudging the records and things like that we're even hearing about now.
Yeah.
We need change. We need change and real leadership.
Absolutely. You were spot on there. State Representative Peggy Bennett, thank you so much for your insight this morning. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much.